All right, Steve, we're on the air.
Something really cool, man. We are telling you today the story of the Grateful Dead movie. And it was a rare thing for us to get involved in that. But the background of it is real simple. For one thing, Jerry loved movies. And I myself, I think he and I watched more movies than anybody else in the whole scene. So we could discuss all these films that we saw when we were kids and enjoyed as for our whole lives. So we would endlessly talk about directors and movies and all that when we hung out together, which was just about every day. And so Jerry then, as time went on, management changed, other people came in and out. And a guy named Ron Rackow came in, and he had the go for it thing. And Jerry, he wanted to make Jerry happy, so he formed a record company, Round Records, where the Grateful Dead were trying to put out their own records, which was brand new stuff in those days, and a movie company. And so the first movie we made on round reels, it was called, was the Grateful Dead movie. Now, that was another thing that Jerry came up with. He wanted to capture the moment of Winterland, which was the most incredible place ever, and never was any place like it or before. It was just special. And, it was Bill Graham's scene and he ran it. And he just had a special touch there. And so all that and all of us being that we were in our 20s and trying to now reach out in a new way. We were starting to grow. We'd been to Europe by this time. We were more seasoned. The crew was seasoned. We were doing the Wall of Sound at this time. We were doing things that were very unique. So Jerry wanted to record that moment in time, and he did, and he directed it. And we had a place in Mill Valley that we called it the Film House, and I lived in Mill Valley, right a couple of blocks from there. So I'd go up and hang out with Jerry. Jerry painstakingly edited the whole thing with his own two hands, and it was filmed live at shows at Winterland, an evening at Winterland, and that was really incredible. Now, here it opened up with a whole animation scene that was just mind blowing in those days. It looked really good on the big screen when we premiered it, and every other time. And that was done by a guy named Gary Gutierrez who did illustration and he was a great friend. And we did Foolish Heart with him, the video for that years later. Now, in this scene right here, you see this motorcycle guy, and he's riding through time and space, and he comes right out in the middle of Winterland. But in Winterland, there's some shots. There's a shot of it right there, and there's Jerry and the band. Now, at that time, the band consisted of Bobby, Jerry, Phil, and Bill Kreutzmann playing drums. We had one drummer at the time, and you have Donna Jean singing, and you don't see her in this picture here, but Keith Godchow on piano. And so it was a really beautiful moment in time. And really, the music was highly polished. We'd been taking it all over the country, playing everywhere, of course, like always. And this is us all sort of like Jerry kind of knew we were never going to be in that young again and that, buff in every way. So this was a paying homage to it, and to watch him have the dream. Now this is outside of Winterland, and this was some film shots that some real what they call B reel that they filmed. The outtakes for this movie are incredible. All the stuff, pictures of us in the truck and out of the truck and handling things and you'll see a couple of scenes in the movie if you watch it if you haven't seen it where we're joking around doing the load in with Bill Graham and setting up the wall of sound. We're up in the scaffolding and you see all the crew working. And this is outside. And these are the deadheads that were lined up there from the early morning. They stayed out there all day. And that's the way it was at Winterland. And they knew everybody and we knew them because they all came to all the Jerry shows and the Grateful Dead shows in the Bay Area. And people came from all over the country. Uh, So that's a beautiful shot because then they went out there. Now, this is inside of Winterland, and this is a beautiful little moment. These are two deadheads, and they're talking about the classic argument. As the guy with the glasses there on the left of the screen, he's arguing that it's a beautiful thing to film and to make a movie. The other deadhead he's talking to on the other side, he said, no, it's selling out. It's an invasion of our privacy, which it wasn't in any way. But that's how people were about every little move, that the Grateful Dead made. Are they selling out? Are they doing this? Well, it's kind of a strange thing, but you end up, as long as you're in showbiz, you have to keep going. And we tried our best to stay insulated, but it all happens. And this was not a bad thing at all, but everybody's right to their opinion. And it was a beautiful moment of deadheads interacting right there in that lobby where, it was just a special place because there was so much history. We played there so many times. And now here you see another shot of the band going at it. And I say for all of you who haven't seen the movie, take a moment. The music's great. The shots are great. Jerry edited the whole thing. And at the very end, you see something that really is rare, the outtakes of us putting up the wall of sound and taking it down. And that's a rare thing right there. And so uh, that's a great thing. At one point in the show, in the middle of the show, Bill Graham had us come out, and that's where I made the line in their show, in the movie, where I said, you're a damn good audience, because Bill was introducing us, the crew, Ramrod, myself, Jackson, uh, Kid, and um, it was a moment in time that I'm really glad we recorded. So have some fun, watch it, enjoy it, and know that it encompasses us at a fine time. Here's a shot of Billy. Like I say, we had one drummer then. I was doing his drums, and it was a good old Grateful Dead time. Mickey had taken a break from the band for a while, and he came back at Winterland before when we did the closing of Winterland movie. Now, Leon Gast and his crew filmed this, and he became a pretty famous filmmaker. You can look him up, Gast. Here's a shot of Bobby, and you can see right there a great shot that Leon was really good at the camera angle, and he was unobtrusive. He handled the camera a lot and had good people working with us that didn't get in the way in any way. And they were very cool about that. And they also did another movie, Hell's Angels Forever, Forever Angels, that Jerry directed and produced. Now, you see that double mic right there. That's how you can always tell when you see those two microphones out of phase. That's the wall of sound, which there was in use that night. And there's a beautiful shot of gorgeous Donna Jean and great voice. And she was singing that night and traveling with us everywhere, her and Keith. And really great people. What a great bunch of folks, man, to be involved with. Now, you don't see it in here, but when you watch the movie, you'll see some other signs of us hanging out at Winterland. There's a famous scene with me in a gas tank, but that's a nitrous tank that we would get from professional people. In those days, you could get medical grade nitrous. It's a very different thing than some of the stuff that's available now. So be careful with that. I don't recommend it. We do it in this movie and have a great time, but you got to have the right stuff and you got to know what you're doing. And also, uh, when you capture with a movie a moment in time, it's a real cherishing thing now that we have that, and I can watch it and see all of us.
Should probably mention that you can get it on the Grateful Dead YouTube channel, and if you watch it, all that ad money goes to charity. So that's pretty cool.
Oh,
But
nice. Thanks
yeah,
for mentioning that. I forgot that. That's a really good thing. Yeah.
but the other thing is, Steve, and I wish I had a picture of it, but
Right.
throughout the movie, there's some guy lighting like a fireball in the
Oh, yeah,
background.
right. That was this guy named Boots, and Boots had come from the Fillmore East area. He was a hangout in guy that we knew from the Fillmore East, and he became friends, and came out to California, hung out with us, and his thing was he had a little squeeze bottle, which was actually an empty neosynephrine thing, and he would just fill it with this powder, which was actually, I think, some kind of insect killer, and he would hold his lighter and he'd squeeze that thing, and he had to use it. In those days, it was before Bic lighters were everywhere, but he would use a Bic lighter, or he would use a flip top old script lighter, and he would squirt that powder through it, and it would shoot a line of flame out and just look so cool. So for a while, we used that. When he hung around, he would always do that at the Fillmore, and then he did it for us at this show, and it looked kind of cute at the time. He could move around, so it was a different thing. It was the first rudimental way of having effects like that, and it was pretty safe because it was just that controlled use of flame, which is a very dangerous thing on shows, and you don't want to use it lightly. But he did know what he was doing and did a great job with it. That's Boots was his name.
And then the
And
one other question, Steve, we showed the motorcycle guy, and they brought that back at the Sphere,
right,
for
that's right.
the fans. What was that like for you to see that again in that kind of
Well,
environment?
as soon as I see that anytime, it brings back that whole time and place, where we were all young and vibrant and working all day on these things, work all night, get up in the morning and edit this stuff. I was fascinated watching the process of how this movie was made, and to see Jerry being so happy. He was smiling all the time when he'd sit behind that editing desk and watch the movie on a small screen and edit it. He did a great job, man. And he learned from the street, like we did everything. You can go to film school for a million years, or you can watch and go to movies your whole life and pay attention, and you still learn a lot by just watching movies and learning, and then studying about the directors. He loved Hitchcock. He loved all these great directors, and would point out things when we watched movies that sometimes you would miss, but he would think about it and understand it from the 360 of the whole thing, because movies can be one way, but they can tell a great story. And he loved that. And he got to exercise that. And like I say, I was mentioning last week about how he had bought Sirens of Titan, Kurt Vonnegut novel, and he wanted to make that into a movie. And it was challenging. It never got done. He tried 2 times to get scripts, and he had all these scripts written, but none hit the spot for him. And so that never got done. So one of the reasons that we work on some projects now is because Bobby and I had sacred conversations with Jerry that one day we would try to tell the story of what we did, the whole thing. So that's what this is about. And you're part of it.
Great preview.
So thank you all, and appreciate you. Hit us a like if you like this one. Subscribe if you can. And thank you so much for your attention and kindness always. I got the privilege of being Grizzly Peak for my smoking weed, and Jerry Garcia CBD products. Check them out on jerrygarciawellness.com. It's all done by his family and his daughters, and they're great people. And there you go. See ya real soon. Love you guys.